So when it comes to Israel, if it was just a Jewish version of Iran, we wouldn't really talk about it. It would just be another dictatorship and we wouldn't really care. But it's not. While religion has a big influence on Israel, but many European countries have like Christian parties. In many countries, dominant Christian parties are leading the nations. I mean, even America, when it comes to religion. In America, it's less legislative because of the separation of church and state. This is not something out of ordinary to see religious people having their own political parties or trying to pursue their own ideas when it comes to politics. As with any sort of mysticism, we would like to see it gone. We would like for Israel to become a fully secular country as any else. But when the comparison is Iran and Israel or Israel and Hamas, mysticism in comparison is much different. So while Israel is not perfect, when it comes to dealing with nations, one, you always deal in comparisons, like Israel is not ideal compared to what? And when you're comparing them to the Middle East, they are great. And even when you're comparing to a lot of European nations, they are still doing very well. Israel is one of the biggest technological centers of the world, and we've seen it in practice. Ayn Rand has been talking about that Yom Kippur Wars, maybe 50 or 60 years ago. Has Israel gotten better? Has Israel gotten worse? I'm not specifically sure. But you cannot think of how good of a country. I think you have to think of it in fundamentals. And I think there are few things that, as long as that country is subscribing to that, I think it still deserves support. It still deserves defense, and it's free elections, it's free speech, separation of power, and respect for individual rights. As long as the nation has, at least in part, all of these, you just support it contextually. You support it, and you push for it to do better. When we talk about Israel, we always criticize it's not being good enough, and we want it to be better. And such a nation can be better. A nation that has free elections, a nation that has free speech can get better if there is enough push for it. But as I said, if Israel abolishes free election, if it establishes some sort of like Jewish theocracy, if it gets rid of free speech, gets rid of private property, it would be just as any other nation in the Middle East, and you would most likely lose any sort of support. I think you would see the same from Ayn Rand. If she saw Israel become a theocracy, she wouldn't be standing behind it. She saw the fundamental philosophy behind the two sides. She saw what the Arabs or what the rest of the Middle Eastern philosophy is about: complete destruction of any Western values. As we've heard it many times, they won't stop at Israel. Israel is just the closest thing they have. But as soon as they get rid of Israel, they'll just continue further.